Hi, I am Nilesh Rathod. I am the CEO of Atmosphere, the store makers.
Hi, I'm Nishit Nanda, CEO and founder of Arnika, a new brand from the house of Khimji Dayabhay Group, a 90-year-old legacy now forming and evolving for today's modern women.
Hi, I'm Dimple Shah, Head of Marketing and Merchandising at Arnika. Here at Arnika, we just not speak to women, we actually listen to them.
And here I am with all the good people talking to Arnika on the store that we have made for them. And let's go through a whole walkthrough with them and let's see what we discover at the end of it. Hi Nishit. Hi Dimple.
Hi, Zumi.
Hi, Nilesh.
So there is always a moment when a brand stops being an idea and starts being a space, particularly when we are in brick and mortar retail. Now, when did that moment come for Arnika in your essence?
So I think we were anyways, we do have stores as a legacy brand, and we were always wanting to bridge the gap that exists in the current market. And we just thought that why not come up with something that relates to current audience, and that's how we thought that let's think of something that is more relatable to today's modern women. And that's how the idea got into execution, and we had the store ready.
And coming from the Khimji Dayabhay Group as a legacy brand, now as soon as the customer comes in, even before he's seen the first piece of jewelry here, how do you want that customer to feel? I mean, what is that one thing that kind of inspires you that okay, that's what I want him to get? I mean, irrespective of what he looks at in terms of the products, the merchandise, the displays, the lighting, what's the one essence that you want him to capture when you get inside here?
I think the one thing that we would want is feeling valued.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because once they are valued,
Yes.
they will definitely come back to us.
And then that guard comes down and they open up, and that's where a relation starts building up, and it's not just a transaction or a sale.
So you think being valued is the most important thing for your customer when he walks through this door?
Of course, yes.
Yeah. And when you compare a jewelry buyer from 10 years back to today, so what really has evolved, or what really has synthesized in that buyer over these decade or so in terms of how the buying happens? So what's your sense about what's changed?
I think the customer has evolved a lot, and the channels have evolved. Like digital 10 years back was something else what it is today, right? And today's buyers would definitely want to check products online, check the brand online, and they do their own research about the product and then step in. So they are well more educated and prepared before they step into the retail experience.
Oh, okay. So you were saying that the physical, that is the physical as well as the digital, and the combination of the two is something which is playing an absolutely vital role.
I think the discovery is more happening on digital more, and which leads to offline and physical touch.
So we often say that jewelry is no longer once upon a time jewelry was something which was led by an occasion, that you had to have something very important in your house to really be making these kind of investments, and it was largely looked at as an investment. Though whatever we've witnessed over the last 6 months with rates of jewelry, it's once again gone into the investment. In fact, it's worked positively. I think it has kind of restored the confidence in gold,
the trust and confidence
in gold, that as an asset class there is nothing to beat gold. So for the next 25 years it has in a way kind of put its place back.
Correct.
So we should all be very happy about that. And in fact now silver is joining that list as a precious metal.
Silver is giving a tough competition in that sense,
as a precious metal. So the point is that it's no longer an occasion led. A lot of jewelry is now being bought for everyday wear. So how does Arnika kind of acknowledge that change, and how is it that it is as it is accepting that customer, and what is it that you're providing for them here?
As I said that we are catering to a modern woman right now who is more independent, and the buying patterns that she has, whoever she buys for, whether it's to self-purchase or not, she's always
More
making those purchases confidently, and not just confident but with intention.
Correct.
So that is one thing, and on top of that, I think what has also led to a different discovery is that today's modern women is not just wanting to buy for occasions like weddings and festives, but they are much more inclined towards expressing themselves to jewelry and through smaller events in their in their life cycles, and smaller promotions, or it is engagement or something else. It may be a first
That's nice for you to say that. So what is it that really builds that trust in your brand? So, in a world where pricing is now transparent, everybody knows if the weight of this jewelry is XYZ, what's the value of the jewelry in terms of the essence, that it holds. But at the same time, there is a trust in it and there is a loyalty of the brand. So what is it that truly builds that trust in what you're setting out to do from here?
I think transparency is something that, is a major key here. Trust is again not built overnight. It takes immense amount of time to build trust, but at the same point in time, where today's day and age, when product and pricing and everything is at par, much more similar to other brands as well, and purity as well. So trust and that experience that we are giving at the store is something that differentiates us, and that will eventually build trust.
Now I have a big question. It could be a tricky one, but then you already have a brand which has the legacy. In fact, it's a legacy which is hard to beat when you say the legacy of Khimji. So what then justifies a new brand name of Arnika then?
See, first of all, we are not parting away from our legacy. That is for sure. Legacy is still there, and we are just evolving the legacy through Arnika. It's just speaking a new language of today's modern women, and nothing new in that. So yes, the legacy is still here. We are still the same. And we are still giving the same values and trust and transparency through a different modern voice.
Yes. So
also
you're saying
experience. What basically we need. Women today's generation is not just about what I need a good environment. I need a good space for me to create that experience. So that's where Arnika comes into place.
So let me put it in another way. Basically, Khimji as a legacy is obviously undeniable in terms of the 89 years.
Correct.
You've been
this year we are doing 90th.
You're doing the 90th year. So it's a legacy hard to even compete with one way.
Absolutely.
And yet you have another brand which speaks for the modern woman who's basically the woman of today.
Correct.
And therefore the experience needs to kind of innovate itself to the needs of the day, and that kind of explains why a new name or something as an extension of the original name. Great. So, when we first discussed this project, you were very clear that you did not want a conventional jewelry store. So, what did you instead want it to feel like when a customer kind of visited this store? If you didn't want the conventional look of it.
The first thing, the major element that we wanted was calmness.
Yes.
Someone should not feel overwhelmed entering into the store, and I think
too much on their head to basically have too much of lightings or anything. We wanted is completely like a different experience, but yet something which is very different from
so
what we
basically
have
you
in
wanted
Bhubaneswar.
something which the customer was not overwhelmed at all, and yet
Absolutely.
it feels that calm.
yes.
And do you think that we achieved that?
Absolutely.
So when we see the lighting to everything, it doesn't feel, come to our eyes directly, and it's soothing enough. That's the calmness that we wanted. Someone should feel home.
And I guess we can see that, where you have kind of prioritized that feeling over the overwhelming displays that you would see in a normal jewelry store, and
Correct.
which is obviously absent here. And so coming to the name Arnika, what is the meaning and the essence of this name? And I know it myself because I designed it for you. But I want you to show us how all of that is kind of spreading out in the way we have used it in the small nuances. And by the way, how are we telling our customer this? Does he even know that why these waves exist?
We do.
Yeah, so basically Arnika actually means fluidity.
Yeah.
It is actually derived from the name from water. So just like how women are really fluid with the changing of time, we wanted them to be basically recognized over here by that. So hence, when you see the designs and stuff, which you guys have done it brilliantly.
So I think we've used it in these walls, we've used
Correct.
it on the textures here,
Yes.
we've used it
Correct.
in so many places. I don't know now.
I think
It's there, but it's not there. It's
Yeah,
correct.
it's there, it's not there. You're right. Right. Even in these walls, by the way, all these
yes, so
partition
yes.
walls
the
have
element
waves
fluidity
to it.
is throughout.
Yeah,
Throughout.
yeah. So we all know that jewelry is not an impulse buy in that sense. So one question is that how does, in your opinion, a physical space really influence a buyer to make a decision? We spoke about the online presence. We spoke about people kind of doing a lot of research and then coming into the store, to do a final look or a buy, and even then they're like spending so much time looking at the options. And today's time and world, we have got a lot of options in terms of buyers, so everybody's got options now. In these options, when you come into this kind of a physical space, so how do you think a brand like you influences the customer to make that final buy?
I think the major role that a physical store or a retail experience has in today's day and time is we have to elevate the experience. That is something that digital cannot provide in one go. And on top of that, I think when a customer comes in, they already know about the product or what kind of product they would actually want to. But what they actually want to see is how it looks on them. So they try it on, they play it around with multiple layers or so that gives them the confidence to make the purchase.
And at what stage in the design did you really think, and this one's for you, that at what stage in the design you really thought that whatever the vision that you were envisaging for the brand is actually coming through in the design that we were presenting to you?
Oh, I like how the modern touch was there, but not overwhelming, because for women over here, or I would say audience over here, giving too much modernness is difficult, so how, as in you guys have cracked it with all the design element, we were like, it was crack on one brief, modern, yet it needs to be traditional, because we cannot go away from our 89 years of legacy.
Great,
so
great.
it's mixture of both. It's not too modern like what you say in Bombay stores, yet having a balance.
And now that we are looking at a finished store here, now you have to tell me which of these details are really the things that you loved in the store in terms of the views that we are looking at. I personally love that corner.
That's my favorite corner. That's exactly how it actually, the designer basically told us that once you enter the store, that needs to be the star.
Yeah.
One section which makes us stand out, and yet it uniforms all together.
Yeah.
Not too much, not big chandeliers, but not just clean, sophisticated, and yet calm.
That, and I think all the jewelry counters, like the use of materials like Italian marble and PVD and
Correct.
glass. I mean, so many different materials.
It's a right amalgamation
together.
of all the materials.
Yeah, so I think that also creates the elegance, in terms of how we are using natural
Absolutely.
materials and stones and things like that, and really creating something which is impressive and impressionist in nature. And I think the customer values that in terms of building a solid background for what he's really investing into. So because these are investments, these are no longer, these are not impulse buys like we just started off. I think that's great. That's great.
I think with the luxury also, you need to also have luxury elements.
So now when I go back, and I think we can just walk this side, when I go back and let's say we fast forward the brand that you built today, and we fast forward it to the next 15 years, and I'm sure this is not, this has to kind of in a way take forward the legacy of Khimji, so that you're building something which is going to compete, something which has got a very strong legacy, and yet you wanted to kind of move forward in that way. So what is it that will remain relevant after 15 years with whatever you're creating today? Something which is timeless in your creative nature, or how you built all of this?
I think customer in whichever day and time always has evolved, and trust, transparency, and craftsmanship is something that, and now in today's times, experience is something that has been a major element. It will always evolve, as in we will evolve, customers will evolve, but that is something that we have tried to achieve. And even if you see the store, the colors that we have used, the elements that we have used are all soothing, warm tones, so that it remains relevant with times. It's not something that we are following a trend that comes and goes.
And as a brand, like in the next 15 years, when you say 89 years of Khimji and the trust that you've created with it, and the same way you've now created a brand for the new Gen Zs and the newer generation.
Right.
So 15 years down the line, is it still going to be the same trust, or it's something else that will take center stage over? Of course, the trust will have to be there, but beyond the trust, what is it that would take center stage for a brand?
I think the retail experience.
The experience.
And that's something.
I think that's a very valid point.
Yeah.
The
So
essential element.
Today it is all about experiences. You know,
Correct.
and I keep saying, just 2 weeks back I was talking to somebody who's a restaurateur, and what is happening today is the money that people have, the disposable incomes, they're kind of, everybody's vying for that income.
Correct.
So it's the jewelers who are vying for it, or let's say if you have a marriage, so the hotels are vying for it because that's where you get the other spend.
Right.
Ethnic wear that you require in all of these marriages, they are vying for it. So it's,
Correct.
in that category, jewelry is one of the major categories.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And today, like I said, with the way the value of jewelry as an investment has kind of fortified over the last 6 months,
Correct.
I think that space is going to take more of it as we go down the line.
Absolutely. And
Because-
we would want that jewelry takes a center stage in the entire wedding section, and the majority should be with the jewelry category.
Yeah. And are you seeing any technological advances in how jewelry is made, or it's still the same?
No, definitely there are technological advancements, and that has somehow helped us and the industry to achieve better products faster.
Okay. So your manufacturing also now has become very different than it used to be about a few years back or decades back.
A decade back, yes. We have also started fusing technology wherever possible. So let's say if a customer has a particular kind of a need and something has to be customized particularly for a customer, even before getting into production, we can show them how the product would look and how would it be,
Absolutely.
the look and feel of the product, even before getting into production. Kiosk concept was something that we as an industry and a jeweler, we have always wanted. So it's always better for us to give to our consumers what they want. If a consumer has something in their mind which they can type and get instantly and see on the screen, that's nothing like it.
Great.
Earlier, we would require a designer or a CAD artist to do it.
Yeah, we had to basically go back to the designer saying that, okay, let me design it to you and come back after 2 to 3 days. Here, like an instant AI happens and it's like the best thing. I will not lose a chance to lose a customer.
Correct.
Sure.
It's like another add-on
And
experience.
I think it will eventually come down to, with people have so many choices, it will come down to how well we run our businesses.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
So how much we are spending on inventory versus what revenues we are making, and how we can bring that down while enhancing the experience, not just keeping it there. I mean, whatever you do, there is only a limited number of SKUs that you can keep in a store.
Yes.
Right? So things like these are going to give you that unlimited nature, sense of experience to the customer. And most times when you are in the long haul to purchase jewelry for particularly marriages and occasions, there's a lot of customization and design that does go in, with these kind of value spends, and something like this that becomes very, very essential for those.
Yes, correct.
That's the reason the legacy will remain for a period of time, but with the time of experience the generation is going, we need to evolve.
True.
Hence, Arnika.
No, so Nishit and Dimple, it has been an absolutely passionate and a meaningful journey to have worked with you and worked on your design and your build and build something that is so extraordinary, which I've come here and seen today for myself. And I am truly hoping that this multiplies itself in many ways, more than one ways, not just in terms of store counts, but in terms of the legacy that we are talking about, the experience for the customer, and the brand just creates a space which is so different versus all the others. And I'm sure that's been the whole mindset that with which you created this, and I can so well see it in it. So congratulations for all of this, and thank you so much for spending time
Thank you so
with me.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And I'll leave it to you
Thanks
if you
to
have
you,
anything
sir.
to tell us about it.
No, absolutely. Thank you for giving us our dream come true. I think we were very particular about what we always wanted.
Yes.
And that's actually...
And in all the conversations we had, the good and the bad, I saw that, and that's really what pulled me to you very truthfully. I mean, I love people who are so particular. I mean, you're a jeweler. So, agar jewelry ye nahi puchega, to kaun puchega? So I keep telling my people that, boss, you have to be ready for it. In fact, you have to see what you can do better. You should not be wanting today. If Louis Vuitton walked into this store, he should be amazed as well. for what we produce, because there was nothing less or more, because we are selling the same kind of produce. What's there to take away from that?
Correct.
And I think that's the standard and benchmark we have to set. So if a customer is asking for that, he's only helping us learn on our journey to reaching there. So that's how we should take it in a positive spirit.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I guess Atmosphere has been the a right partner for us.
Thanks.
So much well researched. I still remember that we were talking to other partners and I was like, no, this is the design. I think we need to have a more design led, because we as jewelers also believe that design is first.
Correct.
And then rest is the experience.
Great.
So-
It's likewise. So I think the feeling is mutual, and we've been challenged enough, and we're ready
Yes.
for more.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
sir.